Mr. Tewolde, that's how you want to be known.
Yes,
not,
that's right.
not the whole thing. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
First, Tewolde, I want to express our condolences for this very painful year. 157 passengers, March 10th. As somebody pointed out, a lot of these passengers on their way to do good things in the world. You just had a memorial service. Tell us about that.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here with you. It's a very tragic accident, and it has consumed all our energy, mind, heart, and almost everybody at Ethiopian Airlines. We just had the closure last week, and we have now been discussing with Boeing to build a memorial monument in the crash site. And also we have agreed to do some things for the community, like hospital and access road and so on.
So you've watched Boeing, obviously, and worked with them and been with them through this process. Obviously, Boeing's suffered on a lot of levels, but its leadership, the CEO, has now been stripped by one of his titles. Do you think Boeing has handled this the right way?
Well, it's very difficult to comment for me on behalf of Boeing, or it's a very long relationship between us. More than as long as the airline itself, because we started with McDonnell Douglas airplane DC-3. So McDonnell Douglas was bought by Boeing later. Right. So it's a very long relationship, and this accident is a very tragic accident in the middle of our relationship. Boeing of late is doing the right thing.
What could they have done better? I think you've suggested to me in the past possibly moving more quickly.
I think they could have moved quicker, faster than they did. So it's very late, but now they have understood the problem, they have recognized the problem, so they are working with us, and they are visiting the victim's family now. They have made at CEO level a couple of visits to Addis. And last week, the executive vice president of government relations and led a delegation to the crash site. So they have also talked to the victims' families. I think it's late, but better than.
It's late, but better than.
Yeah.
You have a delivery, pending delivery of MAX 37s. How many?
30.
30.
Well, total order is 30. So
30. And so, you know, one of the questions that's being asked is, are you going to go forward on that? And what is your decision making going to entail?
We're going to decide in the future, in the near future, maybe in a couple of months. But we want to see the airplane first. We want to see the modifications. We want to make sure that the problems in the airplane are fully addressed. So as I have always said, we will not be the first one. We'll be the last one to fly the airplane, because we have to make sure 110% that the airplane is safe back to the air.
So this is a more rigorous process than you went through before.
Yes,
is it the most rigorous process you've ever
Yes, because, you know, since the accident, there are more than 800 airplanes grounded for the last 8-9 months now. And we have to see that all the problems are addressed, and other airlines fly it, and we have to convince our pilots, we have to convince our customers, because the accident happened to us.
So an interesting question, particularly for this group, as we're talking about AI and innovation. So Ralph Nader, and not everybody knows who Ralph Nader is unless you're an American, but he was an activist who led auto safety. And his grandniece died in the Ethiopian air crash. And he said, the software monster called AI took control of the plane for the pilots. He used very forceful language. Nevertheless, it does raise interesting and difficult questions about AI when it comes into contact with human decision-making. What have you learned out of this process?
I've been following the discussions throughout the day, and I think AI and other technologies have to be managed properly, meaning they serve us well as long as they are served as a tool. As long as we use them as a tool at our full control and command. But when these things, unfortunately, are empowered more than human beings, and when they control human beings, or when they manage people or override people's actions and reactions, then it's a disaster. So
humans need to maintain control and humans need to be over to override AI. It's a lesson from this.
If we think of stretching the technology beyond its limits, and we are talking about replacing human beings, I think this is uncharted waters, and it will be very, very risky and disastrous.
So questions from the audience, please go ahead and hold up your hands and I'll come to you. What leadership lessons did you learn from this? This plane went down quickly, you had to act quickly. What were the decisions that you make and what did you learn?
You know, this accident came to us, it's as a matter of bad luck. We were in the middle of our Vision 2025, at a 15 years strategic roadmap, and the airline has grown in the last 1 decade by 5-fold, from less than 40 airplanes to 125 destinations, and from $1 billion annual revenue to $5 billion annual revenue, and destinations more than 125 all over the world in 5 continents. So it was a big surprise for us. I mean, it is a shock. But as I said, it could have happened to any other airline. It's a bad luck that it happened to us. So from the feedback that we get from all over the world, we have handled the crisis.
You had to ground airlines quickly, airplanes quickly.
Yeah, so first...
tell us how that happened.
Right.
6 minutes.
I was in the church when someone called me from the air traffic controllers that ET302 was lost from the radar. So that was around 9 a.m., so the accident was around 9 a.m. So I was in the accident place at 11 a.m., just 2 hours after the accident. And then I came back to the office at midday, 12 p.m. I have decided to ground the airplane. Nobody has told us to ground, no requirement, no regulatory enforcement, but it was our own decision.
And how many airplanes?
We grounded 4 airplanes, sorry, 1 was in the accident. So around in the evening, China followed suit. And then the next day, Singapore, Indonesia, and then EASA on Tuesday, Wednesday, Canada, then the United States was the last one on Thursday. So doing the right thing at the right time is very important. We learned from the process, and then the human factor is the most important thing. So we had to attend to the victim's family, to our own crew, and that was our immediate priority. And we have dedicated our hotel. We have a hotel, 5-star hotel, 373 rooms, Ethiopian Airlines owned hotel. And we have dedicated the entire hotel for all the victims' families coming from all over the world. And they stayed there as long as they wanted because they were grieving and they were shuttling to the accident site. We had to arrange shuttles and everything. So that was a big challenge.
Were you surprised that the United States took, it was the last country to ground those planes? Were you surprised?
Yes. To be honest, yes, we were surprised because it should have been done much quicker. than before the other countries.
Any thoughts of why it took so long?
Well, according to the information we are given, they were looking for data, the right information, and they wanted to understand what went wrong with the airplane.
So switching gears, since we're running out of time, and please raise your hands if you have any questions. You have mentioned to me that the economy, despite the economy doing pretty well, that there's been a slow growth in
the US.
People flying.
Yes.
You have people, you say there's a fear of flying,
yes.
but it's not a safety issue, it's something else. Tell us.
Just, you know, in the US, we were surprised this year that we fly to Washington daily, to New York daily, and Chicago, and now Houston. We fly also almost daily to Toronto. It's a big market, North America, but it has been a growth market for us. But flying to Africa has somehow stagnated, although the economy is doing well. So we thought that it's not, we don't have concrete evidence, but we thought that people are apprehensive flying out, especially the foreigners.
They're apprehensive about their immigration status, basically, was what you're saying. So there's concern.
They are concerned that immigration laws could change after they go out, when they come back, so a lot of apprehension.
So this administration, the Trump administration's handling of immigration has made more people nervous about flying?
Because of the changes, you know, too many changes introduced.
That's interesting. Any questions? Yes, Cliff.
So, Cliff Leaf, Fortune. You know, a lot of CEOs have to deal with missing earnings and getting beaten up by analysts. You had to deal with something profoundly personal and tragic. How did that affect you personally? I know you did this extraordinary outreach to the victims' families, but personally, just as a human being, what was it like to wake up one morning and realize that you were at the center of this tragedy?
Well, the first thing is shock beyond imaginable level, and then sort of denial and, you know, try to reason out why and how and so on. But quickly, I had to return back to reality and handle the situation. It was extremely difficult. The entire airplane was, when I went to the accident site, you can't see any scrap of an airplane. Everything went down. So it is a very, very unique accident. So it has taken a lot of energy, a lot of, but at the same time, we have to also operate the flights. And to your surprise, we have not canceled a single flight. On the same day, we have operated 340 flights on the same Sunday. So it was on this side, we have to handle the crisis, the crew, families of the crew, victims' families, and all kinds of process. But on the other side, we have to also make sure that schedules are maintained, flights are operated right on time, and we didn't have any delay or any cancellation on the same day.
So, Mr. Tewolde, thank you so much, and again, our condolences as you go through this difficult time.
Thank you. Thank you.